guys, welcome back to our channel. So for some of you guys who follow us on Instagram, where we have started posting literally everything, so definitely go check us out on there. We'll pop the little ad here.
It's just better than Holly, with an actual height than Holly.
Exactly. But for any of you guys who follow us on there, this is a video that you may have been looking forward to or hearing us talking a lot about, because we have some news to share with you guys.
I finally got diagnosed with autism the other week.
And for anyone who doesn't know that much about it, you may be thinking, oh geez, why is that a good thing? But it shares so much clarity on the things she struggles with. It gets access to a lot more understanding and certain help and stuff, so it is a good thing.
So we're gonna get into all things like that in this video. We also I spoke about it slightly on Instagram the other day and left a little question box if there's anything anyone wanted us to touch on specifically. So we're going to be answering them at the end if you did ask us any questions on Instagram. So basically, you guys might be like, where the hell has this came from? And basically, I've been getting treated for multiple mental health issues since I was around 15, but I've struggled with all kinds of stuff for as long as I can remember.
Since she was like a baby.
Yeah, I was always seen as like different and weird, and everyone would be like, oh, it's just Holly, like, oh, it's just Holly.
You were seen as naughty sometimes.
Yeah.
Which obviously it wasn't that.
But obviously we want to do a load of videos to do with autism, but if you know anything about it, it shows a lot different in girls than boys. So with girls, they tend to get diagnosed a lot later on in life compared to boys.
Yeah, everything's set up to do with it. It has typically been structured towards young boys, and so girls also just mask a lot more.
Yes.
Which, if you're not familiar with the term, it's the easiest way to explain it is certain ways. For example, Holly would show if she was struggling or really excited or even simming. They kind of just try and tone it down, hide it, and just mask it all.
Basically how I act on camera.
Yes, pretty much. So she masks so much on camera. It's crazy, but that's why it's so much harder. But she always felt like she was getting treated for the wrong things, and it just never seemed to make sense.
Yeah, if you watched our video on mental health a while back or follow us on Instagram, you'll know I personally have been diagnosed with anxiety, depression and OCD, which anytime I had treatment for them, whether that be medication or any types of therapy or counselling, any of that, it just didn't seem right. I always felt like they were focusing on the wrong thing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But it was like something that affected everything, because I don't think autism is anything. Well, it affects your mental health, but it's not like a mental health condition. Yeah. Like it affects me like physically as well.
It's hardly the same as like if you have, like, for example, we've mentioned before we've both been diagnosed with OCD, but it's different. Like it's just completely different because it is a disability. It's not just
like, obviously they both overlap in each other, and obviously there is a lot that overlaps. Like there's a lot of mental health conditions which are misdiagnosed: autism, like ADHD, OCD, etc.
Yeah. But also what a lot of people do find, because we've obviously talked to a lot of people who we do know a lot of people who also have autism, but a lot of people have said to us that they don't feel like they have anxiety or depression. They more feel like they're secondaries to having autism and getting overwhelmed or not being able to deal with situations or isolating themselves, and then they kind of get those emotions as like a secondary thing. Yeah,
like the first thing I was ever diagnosed with was depression when I was 15, I think. And I was always like, but I'm not like depressed. Like I don't feel like I have depression. Like I'm not like, it doesn't seem like me. Yeah. Sometimes I feel depressed in consequence of XYZ, which now is like,
it makes so much
signs of autism and things like that.
Yeah, but this is something that we've talked about a lot in the first year of our relationship, because Holly was very closed off in general before then, so talking about how she was feeling, what she struggles with, it was new to her. And it got to a point where we kind of had this conversation. I was thinking, you know, do you think it could be autism?
Yeah, because basically there was I was on a lot of different medications, switching, trying to find out what was best for me at the start of 2019. We also did speak about this in the other mental health video. If you haven't seen it already, definitely check it out to know what we're talking about. And then there was a bit of a situation, and I was just like, we need to know what's going on. And I was referred to a psychiatrist to kind of discuss that through the crisis team. So I was like, I'm gonna have a little bit of research, and go in there and kind of see what they think.
Yeah, because I think after that conversation we had, I remember there was one night and you made a mind map.
Yeah,
and you wrote
I
down
literally stayed up
everything
till like
you struggle
5.
with. And I woke up and I was like, yeah, well, she was like, look what I've done last night. And so we talked about that, and then she thought about it a little more and took some of those things to obviously the psychiatrist she's seen, and they also suspected autism, and she got put on the waiting list to be tested.
Yeah, which is crazy. I never ever thought it was that until this night, because I remember there was a couple of other mental health conditions which me, my family, friends, whatever, have suspected for years. So I just kind of thought it was one of them, but it didn't really seem to fit. Like, yeah. I'd read it and be like, oh yeah, that's kind of like me, like some things fit. Fully. Obviously, you never 100%, like, it's not like a one-size-fits-all, no one's the same, but it just didn't really seem to fit. And then I remember, just off chance, I just searched autism, and then I was reading and I was like, oh my God. It just made so much sense. It just made sense for the first time ever. It literally just made sense. And it was just crazy. It was just like, oh my God. And what was really strange about it as well, because my mom sat down with me the night before I had this appointment with the psychiatrist, and she was like, what do you think it is? And I was so scared, and I told her that I feel like it could possibly be that. I mentioned some of the mental health issues that people had suggested in the past, but I was like, I mainly think it could be autism. And she was like, that's so strange, because your dad actually mentioned to me the other day that he thinks it could be that, and things he was looking back at when I was younger, because basically I have a cousin who's autistic and has a couple of other issues as well, and I've always been compared to him like my whole life, and they were like, stuff just seems so similar. And then the psychiatrist literally said it, so within like a couple of days it was like everyone was thinking it, and then we all just came together and was like
So from there she was put on the NHS waiting list, and I think they told us it was going to be around 6 years, which was insanely long. We were like, that is so far away.
Like, we knew it would be long, but we didn't think it would be that long. Like, all wait unless have like a fair bit of a wait. But they were literally like, yeah, it could be like 6 years, and we were like,
yeah, at this point she was still in her teens as well, and we were like, that takes a decent amount into her 20s, and it just seems so far away. But in the meantime, we started kind of implementing some things that we would have if she had been diagnosed, that we had learned from other autistic creators or just research, and they really started to help her a lot more.
Yeah, because I feel like the second once we realised that we think it could be autism, I feel like we all knew deep down that that's what it was, and we kind of just, so in that gap of like us thinking it was that and actually getting diagnosed was just us like accepting it. And I feel like you really helped me to like stop masking and realise certain things were down to autism and how to help them, because before you I was very depressed and cut off, and I would spend like all my time alone, so very obviously isolated. Yeah, spending all my time with Beth then, like we were literally together all the time, it was like realising like what the struggles were and how to fix them.
It was also as well lockdown, I think personally, don't know if you agree, but was a huge part of it, because that's when we spent like the most intense amount of time with each other, and we really started to learn a lot more about each other and how each other works, and there were certain communication flaws, I guess, within our relationship that just didn't make sense. We try and talk it through, but I feel like kind of this is also ties in before we thought it was this, and before I even knew what she struggled with properly, and I was just kind of like, oh, why is she not working with me on this? But obviously this is why.
Yeah, because obviously with autism comes a lot of like communication barriers, if you will. So like eye contact, like social cues, all of facial expressions, tone. You might notice in videos that I'm always very like
expressionate,
and like I'm very expressionate, and I just don't, we interrupt each other a fair bit because I don't get when to like
sometimes you have to kind of like cut the clip and replan out how stuff's gonna say, or sometimes I have to talk in a certain way to try and give her more space to talk, and then more thought goes into everything, which can be a nightmare.
Yeah, but basically, if you follow us on other social media, you'll know a couple of months ago there was an incident where I took an overdose and ended up being hospitalised for that. When we came home from the hospital, it was kind of like, we need to do something, because I was struggling a lot around that time, like leading up to that. I was trying out new medication. It was citalopram for you guys who are into your medications.
Yeah, that's the medication. She was struggling, and we went to the doctors to try and get her some help for it, and then the medication she went on just made it so much worse. And so the bad place she was already in, that just kind of escalated. And then I kind of spotted some things in her that I didn't recognise to do with her as a person. And I was thinking,
Yeah.
oh.
And the hard thing was, any time we went to doctors for any help or anything, they were kind of like, yeah, it could be that, but like, come back when you've got a diagnosis, because we can't do anything unless you have that diagnosis. So they were just still treating me for anxiety, depression, OCD, and it was just like, ah! So we started doing a lot of research on certain clinics, is it? Would we class the clinic?
Yeah, I guess.
Certain clinics, certain places, prices, saving up for that, and I am so thankful we had the opportunity to do that, because oh my god, the fact it could still be another like 3-4 years until I got diagnosed, I just can't comprehend that. Like, but we finally, after a lot of researching and looking, we found Axia, which is, I could not speak more highly of them. I could not recommend them more. If you're in the UK, it's in Chester. It's, I've never felt more comfortable in like an assessment and everything in my life. Like, everything seemed
it was
just so
smooth.
easy. Yeah, where we basically got the call and he sent over some documents, and it was like, this is going to be your appointment date, and I was meant to be in the 15th of September, which is the day after my birthday. But when we were on the way to Haven the other week, so when we were vlogging, it's a bit of like stressful energy. We were literally on the motorway and got a call, and they were like, yo,
a week today, how does that sound? And there were 2 time slots. But if you guys follow us on anything else, you'll know that the day we got back from Haven, Ellie and Lisa came and stayed for a few days.
Oh, that was so stressful!
They went home, and it was the next morning but that we were going to this assessment. But it was early, it was 9:30, but we had to leave really early to beat the traffic. But we were scared because, like, how drained is Holly gonna be? How are we gonna make all this work? So we were so stressed, but we managed to get a little clip of how Holly was feeling, how our thoughts were going about the process. So we'll insert that here.
So, where are we on our way to?
Wait, right now?
Yeah.
London, no.
And who have we just got a call on?
Axia. Saying about a cancellation a week today.
The reference, it's the 23rd of July. I'm not meant to be having an assessment till the 15th of September.
And now it's going to be, what's the date today, 23rd?
Yeah.
It's going to be the 30th.
I'm scared. Finn's scared.
I think Finn's excited.
I don't think Finn was mentally prepared for this.
Finn was.
And I wasn't mentally prepared for this either. Like, I'm so stressed.
I think I'm stressed. We're just going to get the paperwork all together.
Yeah. You know what's so strange? Jonathan was telling me to sort the paperwork out before we went to Haven. I was like, you know what, I'll sit after Haven, after we've seen Ellie and Lisa. We're currently filming this. I feel like I need to scream. I feel like I need to scream at. I feel like I need to tell everyone, but at the same time I don't want to tell anyone because I am terrified of the outcome. I'm so scared.
You should be excited though. Like,
Petrified.
really?
I am excited.
Just give them all the information. Just tell them everything.
I'm scared that we have such a busy week. I'm going to be so burnt out on Friday, and it's at like 9 in the morning as well, so I'm going to be like...
You can't just mask everything as well. You know what I mean? Like, give you the chance to kind of actually deal with them. Wait, I need to start now.
Yeah, I'm sweating anyway.
Bye, future self.
Bye! Help!
Something that I wanted to mention before was how we were both feeling about the appointment, because obviously this appointment was for Holly, but I am the main kind of figure in Holly's life. I have to do a lot for her. I have a lot of the responsibilities in our relationship to do with how the house runs, work and everything.
And when it comes to speaking and like communication appointments, Beth does a lot of the speaking, so...
So if I say how we felt going into this, it's just for the 2 perspectives aside of, we both struggle with mental health, obviously, aside from autism for you. but yeah, we both have mental health struggles, so we were both scared going into this if we were both going to be drained. How I was also still scared to speak, because when I was younger I literally just wouldn't speak, so I've had to work on it a lot. So I was terrified. I was like, what if I say the wrong thing? what if I don't know how to piece it together? But anyway, so we both have these feelings going into it. And also, as two people who have been through CAMHS and multiple other mental health services, people aren't always understanding.
Yeah, if you have mental health issues and you're going through CAMHS
you will
or
know that.
adult mental health services,
how you doing?
Let me just say, I had a therapist when I was 18, by the way, like a year before I got on the autism waiting list, telling me that all my problems because I didn't know what degree to do at university.
Yeah.
Adult mental health services, but yeah.
It can be the same thing as you're in school, and so even if your leg got chopped off and they're like, here's a wet paper towel. It can be the same kind of mentality. So we were so stressed in case we went into the situation, and we were both kind of thinking, oh god, this is uncomfortable, where do we go from here? And the assessment itself, which we'll get a lot more into in a second, is a couple of hours long. So we were like,
yeah, that's like stressful. I was like, I can't sit still and like be chill in this appointment and like talk for 3 hours, but oh my god, I can't even explain. The guy who done my assessment was like,
it made it so comfortable. And he even talked about the fact when the second we set foot through the door, he was like, don't worry about eye contact because I probably won't be making a lot myself.
Yeah, it was just so easy. There was like no pressure on it. I've never been able to talk to anyone so easily who I don't know. Like, it was, I can't even explain it. It was so good. I was so happy coming out of it. I was like, but
it was a really positive experience.
Yeah, 100%. But if you don't know, before like you go to one of these appointments, you basically get like a huge like developmental questionnaire, if you will. So it was like 30 pages long of like this big questionnaire.
So much was supposed to write.
Yeah, and you kind of just talk through that, and it was so good. I thought it was going to be like a pretty traumatic experience, if I'm being honest. And it was just like having like a conversation, like.
But even with people who you are close to, pretty much outside for me, you still struggle.
Yeah, that was like the best I've ever been, other than talking to you, and I was like shook. And yeah, it's like all the professionals, like the mental health. Do you want to know how many professionals we've seen for mental health who were just like,
they just make it so much harder. You feel judged, you feel like, what am I meant to say in the situation? But you just made it a case of, we both sit there and answer the points he's bringing forward. And even it was nice to see that she wasn't masking much, which I have never even seen her do it in front of like even our best friends. She will mask so much, but she had a little squishy toy. She was moving around the things. When we were talking about special interests, Caroline got brought up. I know we've mentioned this before on YouTube.
And we got to sit and talk about it all, and he was like,
he was into it.
He was interested in what we were saying, and I was talking about like our special interests, things like roller coasters, Caroline.
We were talking about Animal Crossing too.
And he was sat talking to me about them, and I was like, one, I know what you're doing. I know you're trying to get me excited. But two, I'm so excited.
So she sat there, and he's obviously known what to say, how to get her more excited about it. So she sat there stimming, which with her hands. So she moves her fingers funny, and it's cute. And she sat there doing that, and I was thinking, I've never seen you do this before. But I was so happy that she wasn't just closed off, being like, there's nothing wrong with me. I just struggle with this or the other.
Yeah, I think it was also good because you mentioned before that we went to Haven, which was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Ellie and Lisa came Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, left Thursday, and then we had this appointment Friday. Let me just say, I have never done so much like activities and socialising in my entire life. I was so burnt out, which was, it worked in our favour because
was good. Like, she couldn't mask fully.
When I'm that burnt out, I can't mask as much, which worked in our favour, obviously, because I was so scared I was going to go in the appointment and be like,
also, I was trying at the start of the appointment, before he kind of grasped which way to take it and what to kind of try and get her more excited over, I kept dropping these little things in just to try and get her a bit excited.
It's not funny, they both just sat there like poking at me like with a bear with a stick.
Like when she was younger, she used to, one of her special interests was owls, and she had this owl box and there was one in the corner. And I was like,
the same one.
Yeah.
And she was like,
Holly, I was like, look what he's got. And I was like trying to talk in this way.
Owls.
And I seen her going like this, and she was like, stop. And I was like, no.
It was so funny. It was such a good experience, honestly. So Axia. I don't know the full title. And we'll maybe leave their website down below, because honestly, like, I could not recommend them more if you're looking for somewhere to get a diagnosis.
If you can go private, 100%.
Yeah, if you can and you can travel down there, it's literally the best experience with any assessment appointment ever had in my entire life, even with a person. Got appointment wise.
Is even afterwards, so normally if any of you are watching this who are questioning if you have autism and you get drained from stuff like this, so if you went to an appointment and you'd feel the need to go home and just crash out, afterwards we actually went for a walk around the area, we got some food, I think we may have filmed some TikToks when we came home, I can't remember, but anyway, we've done a bunch of things afterwards and it just went
so quick. Like, I remember I looked at the clock and I was like, wait, there's literally like 5-10 minutes left this appointment, and I was like, it felt like we were in there like half an hour. It was crazy. Yeah, but it was just such a good experience. There was literally no judgment. It was such a safe space, which is how it should be in mental health, but it never normally is. But take notes.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into the questions that you guys asked us now, if we haven't covered them already. So the first question we got asked is what kind of things they cover in the assessment, and we kind of touched on it before, but yeah, it literally starts from things from you were a child, how you would act as a literal baby, like pregnancy, like how your mum was in pregnancy, family history, what you like now, sensory issues, special interests, relationships with other people. Do you think of it now?
Yeah, special interest, foods, different types of sensory things, so light, sound, they cover everything.
Even what types of schools that you went to, like everything was covered, from like literally when I was conceived to this point. Yeah, they was wrote in this form.
But it's not in a scary way. It's literally so chill.
Yeah, and also I feel like, I'm scared that they won't be able to like touch on some of the points that I want to touch on, I think are important. There was like a huge bit at the end where you can literally write like what you want to write and like anything, and they do touch on literally all of that and take that into consideration. Yeah.
Literally just everything. That's what they cover at the assessment. So someone said that they're currently working on getting an accurate diagnosis, and it's scary and exciting, which she will back but how did the process start? Was it from initiative or did a therapist suggest it? We kind of covered this before.
Yeah, as a point, it was kind of both. Like, we realised at the same time, my family realised at the same time, a therapist realised at the same, well, a psychiatrist realised at the same time.
It was like not far in between all of us. So we had that conversation, then Holly talked to the doctor, got referred, but then spoke to her parents.
But before I mentioned it to mum and dad, they were talking about it, and I didn't even mention it to that psychiatrist, and she was just, I was like...
So I think it's just everything at once. It was the first, because Holly is obviously, she's had some time off work this year, but she had some time off work in 2019 as well, so it kind of came around that. People started talking about it a lot more, but yeah.
And someone asked, do you have a family history of autism? Well, I said earlier, my cousin, he's been diagnosed since he was, I think he was like 2 or something when he got diagnosed. He's been diagnosed like since he was a baby, and actually 2 of my other, like, they're like cousins, like second cousins, they've also just been diagnosed with autism. So
yeah, that's fairly recently as well. So
I say family history, but it's like more like the distant cousins. There's no one in my immediate family who has autism.
Yeah, but fair about. Yeah. So the next question is, how does it affect your daily life?
When I say it affects every aspect of my life, it affects everything, even like to what times we do everything. I need like a set schedule of like exact times of what we're doing and when we're doing, or I will just sit like this.
Yeah, I think
and not be able to function unless I have that.
It literally affects her from when she wakes up to when she goes to sleep. It affects her a lot, it affects us a lot, it affects me a lot for the things I have to do. So for example,
I rely on Beth a lot.
Yeah, so we'll wake up, then she'll naturally be scared about the day if we have stuff to do. So then we'll take a minute, try and talk through it, try and plan it out, which is really important for you.
But if I get so scared of planning it sometimes, this is also a reason why sometimes I will just sit there and do nothing, because if the slightest thing changes, like anything, I will have an absolute meltdown. I won't know how to comprehend that. I won't know how to move on with the rest of the day, which is why you might notice we're not the most consistent with uploading sometimes.
Yeah.
It's because like if one thing goes wrong, I'm like, I can't do it. It's something I'm working on so much, but it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. I think that ties in with the mentality too, which we kind of started questioning, oh, what's wrong over, is the fact of her life's either going great when she's got this routine, she's getting stuff done, or her life is over. It's so bad and she will never be able to enjoy anything again. So that's, if there's the slightest inconvenience, that's what it goes to. So a lot of times we'll wake up, and if we wake up a little bit late, we'll have a little talk and
issues.
Yeah, then we wake up, then she needs the same cereal every morning, not just out of preference.
Food a lot. I've always been like seen as like a picky eater, but
yeah,
when I tell you I have like the same handful of meals which I've switched between my entire life,
she means the same handful of meals.
No new foods, no new textures, no nothing. Even things like it affects what I wear. And if I don't have like that specific like fabric or like clothing item,
she will just try and go back
comfortable,
to bed.
I can't do that. Even like going out, things like communication, like it affects everything, like literally everything.
Yeah, it is hard. It's one of them, like, she's scared of the dishes because water is a huge thing for her because it feels sticky. So
I do not do beans.
Doesn't do the dishes because it's terrifying. Or bath time, that can be really overwhelming.
Yeah,
because you're scared of it. But yeah, it literally affects absolutely
even
everything.
the weather, because if it's hot, I'm sticky. I'm not in control. It's a mess, but yeah. Someone asked, how do you know to look into ASD and not any other mental health conditions? Well, I didn't. And from the years from when I like intensely started struggling with my mental health, and it came kind of forward, my mum and dad kind of knew there was a lot of issues there. So when I was 15, from then until I was it 19, I got put on the waiting list, or was it 18?
I think it was 19.
Wait, no.
Or you
it was just before my 19th birthday.
I swear it was literally a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, so then a couple of years I was looking into other mental health conditions. Even when I got put on the waiting list, I was still looking at other mental health conditions for, okay, if it's not, like, obviously I didn't know if it was, I was like, if it's not that, even up until when I got diagnosed, I was like, okay, if it's not that, here's other mental health conditions. But I feel like the difference was, like, it just seemed right. I feel like the relief feeling you get when you read something and, like, you know it's that. Yeah, and it was just everything, and it was the best feeling ever when, like, you realise it was that. But then came the anxiety of, okay, well, what if professionals don't think it's that? It's like, I know my own brain, but it's like, I might not be able to get it across properly. But yeah, the answer is I didn't know not to look at the mental health.
It took a while, and then we kind of just stumbled across it, and then researched it, implemented certain things that other people who have autism implement into their lives, and it just made sense.
And obviously, other mental health conditions can come side and side with autism. It's not sometimes just autism and just mental health conditions. A lot of people with autism also have mental health conditions. A lot of people who have mental health conditions can also have autism. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
I think that's the main one though. So that's all we have to touch on in this video. We have a lot more to say, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we want to make so many more videos because it's something we're both really passionate about, and obviously we've had to do a lot of research. So leave down below if you have any ideas of what videos you guys might want to see on it. But also, I have recently made a TikTok. By this will be out, I would have uploaded on it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing all like informational videos about autism and like the good side of autism also, because like it's not all bad. Like some things I really like about it. Like there's all kinds of videos, so we'll leave the link for that down below. I'm so scared about that. Yeah,
she's terrified, but she's going to post a lot of content kind of how she knew, the process, special interests. We're also going to touch on how to work it into a relationship and improve communication, how to support a partner. We're going to cover as much as we can, and we're going to bring as much as we can to YouTube too. But any topics that you do want to hear from to make sure we cover it, definitely let us know, or even message us on Instagram.
Yeah, but I'm so excited because it's called Emerald Buttons, and if you guys don't know, I'm a Slytherin. I'm also obsessed with Coraline. They're like two big special interests. I'm really excited about that.
So we hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and let us know what you thought of the video down below.
And if you do want to see more from us, our Instagram and TikTok are both down below, as always. But if you want to search them, they're both just Beth and Holly.
With an extra Y at the end of Holly. And if you want to be notified the next time we post, which we are getting our schedule in check, so it will be regularly, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button below.
So thanks for watching.
And we'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!
Bye.
Call it spring, like everything is new. The sunburst flowers calling on warm days overdue. But I